Hello teacups, what's brewing? How are you doing? Hope you're okay. Thank you for being here. Before we start, can I show you my earrings, guys? Look, adorable. Okay, so Chantal came online for just over an hour entitled Hello from Syria. Barbecue Chicken has a cut down of it, but she's put it together with another one, so I'm just going to be looking at this section. Feedback from the last videos, some people didn't like the fact that I had tried to adjust the voice to make it clearer, but the majority did. So I have tried to remove the background noise again. If you didn't like that, sorry, but I can't please everybody, but it is at least clearer for me to hear like this. But apparently it's better if you don't put your earphones in, which is also fine. I don't record with my earphones, so I wouldn't know. But if you're looking for tips, there you go. Let's get started. Julia thrilled. Ooh. I didn't stop her at the right time there, but you can see she had a big hole under her arm. She actually did that in Kuwait. We saw it on a stream once. But it had like a small gap that had kind of laddered, I guess because of how the abayas are made in that material. And so she obviously didn't fix it, and now it's splitting. Now, Foodie has very limited clothing where she is. She said she didn't bring her abayas, so this must have been like one of the ones that Salah grabbed, because as we know, she wasn't intending to come to Syria until the last minute. But she's also got limited laundry availability because of the water and stuff, so she's going to be having trouble with clothes right now.
There's a hole?
Mm-hmm, a big one.
I better get another Where?
Don't go outside.
Is there really?
Yeah, you just put your thumb in it.
Is it big? It's so sleeping. You see? He was up and fell back asleep. Hold on, my cat's eating plastic for no reason. Hey!
Why is there loose plastic around your cat that they can eat? Yes, they shouldn't eat it. It's like trusting a baby to not put something in their mouth.
You can eat that. Hey. Where's your survival instincts?
I do wonder why she turned her camera off at this point. Like, she could have just gone over and grabbed it. I'm guessing she's not entirely modest at this moment.
I don't even know the name of the city I'm in.
Alright, she put this over. But more importantly, sorry I interrupted it. She doesn't know the name of the city she's in. A couple of points. 1, what the hell is wrong with you? 2, when you came into the country, you would have had to tell them where you were going, which is why you getting this apartment was one of the urgent things, I'm guessing, because she got a visa on arrival, which we're going to discuss later when that talk comes up. I'm guessing she doesn't want to say where she's living, and so she's just pretending she forgot. But let's never count out ignorance with her.
Honestly, I'm not even just saying that because it's like a name I can't remember. It's like a different name.
Nah, I think she just doesn't want to say it.
I know the name is good for you to know where you are.
Yeah.
True.
How would you not remember the name of the place you're in if you've been in it for longer than like an hour? I understand if you're driving through somewhere and you've stopped for a minute and you go, oh, I'm not sure exactly where we are at the moment. But she has been living there. You know where you went.
I know he tells me. I don't ask him again. He's going to be mad. Like, what are you? Like, you don't remember? I have to write it down. Tiffany passed away? You're kidding.
This was one of her long-term visas, apparently. The name feels familiar, but I don't follow her visas hugely. But it's a shame.
How do you know? Hey, lady, I'm so sorry to hear that. She was a visa from, like, the beginning.
I know that Chantal is acting sad here, and it's sad news, like someone passing away. But she clearly didn't care enough to ask where she was during that time. So there we are.
She barely chatted in here anymore, but she always was had a visa membership for, like, years. It does feel like family. It is family. It's visa family, you know?
Chantal has very few relationships out in the real world, so I get why she's saying it. And I have very good friendships of mine that are online because my life generally is travel. But Chantal treats her visa family awfully. And I imagine she's not that much better to her real family. Be careful the family you choose. One of the joys is that you get to choose it.
Every day, it's like, we plan to start the day a certain way. It goes left, always. So, I don't know, but...
Sounds like a personal issue.
And I can't find my toothbrush. I gotta find that. Today, I lost it yesterday. Yesterday morning, I was like, hurry up, we're going. Like, I can't leave without brushing my teeth.
She has literally sat in her car in Canada, where things were presumably more organized and you wouldn't move your toothbrush from the bathroom, and like rubbed her teeth with a tissue. Or didn't she do it with a makeup wipe once? Because she is on record as frequently not brushing her teeth. But I do want to know where on earth her toothbrush would be. You would leave it by the bathroom sink, presumably. So if she's lost it, I'm guessing she hasn't brushed her teeth for a while.
You cannot survive being super morbidly obese here, so I've been struggling because honestly, it's really hard. It's really hard, and just the heat alone, like if you're like really big, and just movement. So, but I was like surprised that just in a little bit of time, I'm able to move more. Anyway.
It really shows, and I know we knew, but how housebound she's been. Because the only time she's ever really moved before this have been, like for the last few years, have been, okay, getting herself to a car and then being taken somewhere. Even the slightest movement has been really hard for her. And she's not going to have been doing a lot of stuff there.
Thanks. I hope it continues like that. I have a video coming out. We went to KFG.
Of course you did.
We went into Damascus yesterday. So I have a vlog on that, but yeah, I gotta do more. Honestly,
her chat has been quite annoyed at her not showing anything. Like they've become, not annoyed, they've become more vocal about it.
Honestly, because I haven't eaten any, I decided to try their fried food. Like, I almost got sick in a restaurant because like I'm not used to eating greasy food. Like I haven't eaten greasy food in a little while.
She was literally eating like potato sandwiches the other day. And she's been in Syria for not very long. Yeah, she came on the 2nd, so it's 8 days now. Maybe a week when she was filming this. Lifetime of fast food. No, you guys, the fried food makes me sick. The Indomie seemed to go down pretty well.
It's the beef. But anyway, I have a full review coming up, so.
When she says it's wonderful, you guys remember that she said she nearly got sick.
I'm glowing, it's sweaty. I have to do laundry in the sink.
I bet.
But the sink is, I gotta bleach the heck out of it first. Then I have to wash by hand all the clothes.
If your sink is at the point where you need to bleach it because it's filthy, you've been there a week. I know she showed herself wiping the counters and said she was cleaning and stuff, but if you weren't doing that, what were you cleaning? Additionally, imagine the quality of the clean she's going to get doing this by hand. Oh no.
I have a washing machine, but it's not working right. So we've just opted, it's easier to just, number one, the fridge went and died. So,
oh god.
Didn't
she say her landlord had just replaced that fridge? Because their old one was draining all their battery and they were hoping the new one would be able to run better on it?
Like a brand new Maytag, it's just not going to happen here, so.
Is Maytag a brand of fridge? I don't know. But her point is you're not going to get a new one. I was a little bit shocked that the landlord was like, oh yeah, I'll try for you. When she mentioned it before, so.
Which I don't, I understand, okay? We're in like a village in Syria. I'm fine with the cooler, so I'll just get some nice, they have slushies. I don't know what they call it. Just gets me a slushie, and it's made with like, but it's not like a fake slushie, like, you know how like slush puppy, they have like color stuff? It's like cheese, it's like made with real fruit, like chunks of strawberries, but it's like icy.
Oh, nice.
Hey, Stephanie. 6 loads of laundry. I almost feel like hiring someone to do it, but I don't know.
Hiring someone to do it. I bet there'd be people eager to earn the money, but honey, you literally have nothing else to do. Just wash your own clothes. Like hand washing, I get, it's a lot, but you have about 4 things. Wash them, hang them up, iron them if you're feeling saucy.
Anyway, I'm just gonna wash it by hand. I'm gonna fill up the sink with water. So we get some ice, we fill the cooler. That's when we have cold water. Otherwise, and I'm gonna out Salah because he's been complaining more than me. Yeah, he's been
more than you. What were you complaining about? So you've both been complaining, but you've been noticing his complaints more. I'm not surprised, especially if he's been out trying to sort out like the family home. But as long as she can blame him for complaining more, that's the important thing.
He was laying on the couch last night, and like, I want cold water. I go, well, we have to drink water for now.
Alright, so when you wanted cold water, he got you a fruit slushie. When he wanted cold water, you laughed and said, well, tough.
Maybe Canadian bees? Can't go there right now. You know how it works. Immigration.
Alright. Canadian bees. There's going to be more to this conversation, but as far as we are aware, Salah has tried to get into Canada twice before, right? So the chances of him being approved for a visa now are infinitesimally low because he's already been rejected twice. This isn't a fresh application. So consider his situation before. Yes, he's Syrian. He had residency in Kuwait and he was trying to get into Canada, right? So, what do you think the chances are? Now, spoiler alert, that apparently he doesn't have residency in Kuwait anymore, which we will talk about later. He's a Syrian man in Syria. How the hell does he think that's going to improve his application? I mean, even if he were in the same situation, he's got nothing to recommend him that would improve his application, but being in Syria is going to make it way worse. Now, a few people asked me in the comments when we've mentioned him coming to Canada before, well, what if she's setting him up to come on a refugee visa or refugee status or whatever you would actually call that in Canada? Well, I'm assuming for refugee status, you have to prove some kind of imminent threat. He went from residency in Kuwait to Syria. His application status and address changed in between applications, and they will have a record of his applications. So he went towards the danger, and then she joined him. I don't think the refugee thing would have gone through anyway, but if there were ever the slightest shadow of a chance, they've both gone to meet in Syria? That's not going to support his application. So no, I don't think they're setting him up to be a refugee. But if for some reason they thought they would chance their luck, her going to Syria to be with him was one of the dumbest things to do, outside of all the other reasons it was dumb.
As far as the drive, maybe an hour and a half, I think. I don't know exactly.
All right, so an hour to an hour and a half, and I feel like maybe she realised she shouldn't have said anything, and that's why she suddenly gets distracted.
Skinny Tay, you want to see? Okay, we don't have there's crumbs on the ground from Julia eating her things. Hold on.
All right, I'm refused to believe she's wearing proper clothes.
I know.
There's her leg. Yeah, I don't think she's got bottoms on. And up this top corner, I know her foot is horrible. Does it look less swollen? Yes. I'm not even convinced this is the correct foot. I really do feel she just switches them to whichever one is better. Her skin tone is off. I was in Pulpy's live a little bit ago, but didn't stay in it very long, but he called this mottled, and I would agree. And her light is quite yellow, and yellow, like in colour theory, cancels out purple, so this is the best it's gonna look.
Oh, didn't mean to show my leg, sorry. See, my foot is not swollen right now.
Look how filthy the floor is though. Forget the foot, because I do think she's lying about it. Just in general, it still looks like it's in quite bad condition, and that's assuming that's the correct one. Which actually, now I'm looking at the stage of that toenail, the big toe, I think it is the one that she hurt, but I don't know if it's the one that was swollen. Look at this. You can see all the cat treats or the cat kibble that she does mention because she's like, I know that's bad, but look at the side. Look how filthy the floor is.
Told you, skinny ankles. She doesn't finish her treats right away on the ground, so there's crumbs I gotta sweep. Purple is not a skin tone.
Yeah.
That's my skin color, always been like that.
That should be of concern to you.
Very, very pale, purpley, almost see-through. No, we're not in Dada. No, because there's no, we looked in different areas, but we needed to find a furnished apartment like ASAP.
Because you decided to rock up to Syria? Yes, we know. Also, I don't trust anything she says to do with her location. People say Dara because people looked into like the history of the Facebook account that Salah had, and apparently his family home was there. But I wouldn't trust Foodie as far as I could throw her, quite frankly.
We're very far from Aleppo. I know that, and I want to go to Aleppo. It does look better, thank you. Deep fake feet.
I know what she's doing with her feet. Because if it's the broken one and it's not as swollen, then okay, great. But she said, didn't she say before that it was her other side that was swollen, so she didn't have to worry about it? Like, just show us both feet, and then we don't need to say anything, do we?
When I bring Salah to Canada? Well,
won't happen.
I'm hoping that, inshallah, next time I go, I can.
Next time she goes. Again, for all the reasons I've just said, there's no way. Newsflash. Going to Syria is not going to improve your already twice rejected visa application.
But it's a process, Rebecca, that's all. Why not go to Thailand? Thank you. I don't like the idea of having to travel, honestly. Salah, I think part of him to go to Thailand. When he was at his Kuwait residency, it was easier.
Oh my God. Did we know this? I don't think we knew this. I was saying in the other one, your Kuwait residency gets cancelled, or your residency in a lot of these countries gets cancelled if you're out of the country for a continuous amount of time. Usually it's around the 6-month mark. because by default you are no longer resident. But the way she says it is that he doesn't have his residence anymore, which is very interesting. Now, his employment status appeared to change while he was with Foodie, but for him to lose it so quickly, like, there aren't very many scenarios for that. On one hand, the report could have gone further and they could have just flagged it and been like, nah, you're done. But I feel like we would have heard from Pause Kuwait if that were the case. I think the last update they gave was that the investigation was dead in the water because they were both abroad. In which case he wouldn't have lost his residency for that already. Or, if you remember, I was saying this seems really dodgy, and perhaps there was something bigger going on with how he got his residency and how he was able to keep his residency when he didn't appear to be employed and he was lying about the spreadsheets he was filling in and all of that. I don't know the true situation of what's going on there. We only know the pieces that have been given to us. But there is a possibility if he had something going on with his friend, is it Murad? And they were just kind of keeping him on the books, that they were like, hey, we cannot risk anyone looking into this, so we're going to end your contract, which therefore also ends your residency, and you need to go because we can't be connected to this if there's an investigation. Now, I'm not saying this with any evidence. I'm just saying there are limited situations in which you would lose your residency immediately. And if his residency was connected to work, the way he claims it was, or don't know actually if he's claimed that outright, but one would presume he would have residency through a work visa, then the only reason for the residency to end immediately would be if the contract was cut short, because you get the residency for the period of the contract. So either his contract would have finished and they were like, we are not renewing this, or they had a word with him and was like, dude, we can't, we need to get you off the books. But that is really, really interesting. And it does mean that his life is just fucked. Like, if he doesn't have the option of Kuwait anymore, he has to fix up his family home. He doesn't have anywhere to live. And he didn't want her to come straight away, but it also explains why he wouldn't necessarily want to let her go, and why he was talking about, was it real estate in like registering with the state there to start a business? He's got to rebuild his life completely. He doesn't have the option of just swanning on back to Canada, as much as they would like it to be. Ooh. I don't know if she meant to let that slip, but ooh, that was an interesting thing. And as she actually says, if he's trying to get a visa even to the places he can travel, people are going to look a little bit more side-eye at someone coming in from Syria than someone coming in with permanent residency in another country. Simply because no country really wants people to disappear after they visit. And they would consider someone coming in with a permanent address in Syria to be higher risk than someone with residency in another country. Ooh, interesting.
But we could go to Malaysia, but like, I don't know. I don't want to travel again with the cat. We'd have to apply for her to be imported. I mean, we can do it if we get desperate, but like, he wants to get into his house.
Because he's got nowhere else. And I know they're saying she can't access her money right now. Oh, that would also explain, somebody in the comments said, oh, he could still access his Kuwaiti money, so she could transfer to Kuwait. But the moment you don't have residency, you can't open a bank account. That's why she didn't have her own. So he would have brought all his money with him, but he wouldn't have a bank account there anymore because it gets attached to your visa. And when I leave here, you actually have to show proof that you've closed your accounts, that you haven't left them in debt. I'm assuming there's something similar there.
He wants to move and get into his house and I guess just live a simple life until we can do something else.
Live a simple life until what, Chantal? Even if Chantal gets herself sorted out, they get money behind her, they make the application from a good position, which she is not in right now, he's already been denied twice. The lengths they would have to go to with his change in circumstance to get him into Canada are very unlikely to happen. Not least of which because of the somewhat grey situation of their marriage status, which is also something we're going to discuss.
So I don't think it's any secret that people know that I'm here for 15 days right now. But I think
She's admitting it
we're
now.
finding out, we have to take a taxi at some point. Yesterday when we went into Damascus, we tried to...
Okay, so the 15-day thing, I am actually just going to double check. Please don't click off. Okay, yeah. So right now you can get a visa on arrival, and that's what Foodie got when she came in through the land border. Hey everybody, Editing Milk here. So as I was editing, I was just looking up a few further details. I hadn't done that when I recorded this, so I was recording this assuming the land border entry was still free. However, on the 7th of July, they implemented visa fees for the land border as well. I will also link that down below, but it does appear that she has a choice of 1 month, 3 month, or 6 month visas, and that starts at $100. But there is also a 15-day transit visa. So it's possible she came in and said, oh, it's a transit visa, it's only for a short trip, or it's possible she came in on a month one or what have you while the visas were still free, but she would still be required to register at 15 days. So I just wanted to insert this here. I didn't know this when I was recording, so apologies. Thank you. Now you have to remember, with a lot of the information that's available online right now, because of the regime change, a lot of it is out of date. And there wouldn't be a lot of new information because the regime's just changed. However, the immigration stuff, in some ways, because they're making it simpler for people to get through the border rather than harder, are faster to be implemented. But then you see signs of that, like, I think the reason that they don't pay visa costs going through the land border, for example, are because there aren't payment systems in place yet, whereas in the airport there are. So currently, from what I can tell, with exception of certain nationalities like Israel, you can get a visa on arrival. As a Canadian, she can get a visa on arrival coming up through a land border, which we know she did. She's going to talk about her marriage and stuff like that. We will talk about it, but she can just come in as a tourist. And it appears that a VOA would just be for like a month, but I think it's a month. However, 15 days is when you have to register with the immigration in Syria. Like, I'm assuming you have to go to the ministry or what have you, which is what she's about to describe. So it's not that she can't stay longer than 15 days, it's that she has to register if she does. And we know that she has been very against putting her position in Syria on official paperwork, even though her passport has already been stamped. So at this point, just like, it is what it is, because she doesn't want to contact any Canadian authority to let them know she's there, because she's worried it might cause issues, I'm guessing, with his useless application to come into Canada. And I'm guessing their trip to Damascus, to what she's about to describe, was them attempting to register her. All right, let's go back.
The immigration office in Damascus?
Yes.
There's one main one, and there's like a couple. So we went to the wrong one. Like, you guys, there's someone fat, out of shape, and who's always hot. That building was
middle of Syria, calling the immigration office hell on earth. Jesus.
Hundreds of people just crammed on the outside of the building. So to even get into the building, you had to hold my arm, hold me through the crowd, people shoving you.
What a surprise. Hundreds of people at the immigration office trying to get out of Syria. I wonder what's causing that. It's such a nice place.
Then you go in the building, and it's hotter in the building than it was outside. It's packed solid.
Right.
Like, you think the DMV's bad, eh? Then we had to go up stairs, like 3 flights of stairs. There's no one.
Do you remember her trying to go up the flights of stairs in their apartment in Kuwait? She nearly died. And then trying to do it like upright without causing a scene with everyone around her because she's in public. Oh, you cannot tell me the week she spent in Syria has made her capable of that.
Elevator. We have to go up 3 flights of stairs, and the stairs are constantly busy, and they're narrow. So you're having to like push your way up. Anyway, I was so like, by the time I got to the top, I thought I was going to faint. I was so...
Hell on earth, guys.
Sweating buckets, and then they're like, oh no, it's the wrong place.
That makes me laugh a little bit.
Yeah, not greasy. That's why I said to Salon that there was a little kid selling, and kids, it's not child labor. They help their families working very young. So they were selling water, ice, and I was like, I want ice water. But Salon got me a really cold, slushy. Basically, thanks to your job. There's nothing easy really here, this year.
How shocking. You mean to tell me that people have power 4 hours out of the day, intermittently, and you can't use an elevator? You mean to tell me in the middle of the immigration services in a war-torn country that people aren't giving you special treatment? Oh my God, I am shocked.
The kid just started squeegeeing our window, and I just felt so bad. Like, give him some money. So I gave him some money. Only for 15 days, yeah. I know. I'm trying to see what I can do, like, to stay, to be his wife, like, what, if I'm allowed to stay longer.
So this here, I'm trying to see if being his wife, I can stay longer. So this tells us two things. One, she doesn't know the procedure of how to come in as his wife because she's saying if. Because two, she's not currently there now. The visa on arrival just would have been essentially tourism. Now, as for the procedure for her becoming registered as his wife, Syria, right now, it doesn't seem, recognizes civil marriages. Now, she claimed in Kuwait that they hadn't had like the marriage, they had just done it through the court, which would be civil. Now, we did not believe that, and I'm not going to go through all the reasons why again, but I, whether you agree with me or not, did not believe that for reasons I've gone through many times before. I could potentially see a religious marriage, like okay in the eyes of God, one of the temporary ones, like a mishya marriage, so that they could live together without getting arrested in Kuwait. Fast forward to the Syrian government, it seems like prior to now, you could register a marriage from abroad. Again, that is assuming they had one to prove, but it's a very complicated procedure. And I'm not sure that procedure is in place right now. So what I'm going to do, down below, I have linked a study from Land Info, Syria Marriage Legislation and Traditions. Now, obviously, this is from 2018. So this tells you at the very least what it was before the change of regime. Based on information that I can see at the moment, it seems that Syria does not currently recognize civil marriage, period. Like, you have to do it religiously. And there is also quite the process for that. Now, I realize that they've changed some processes. So, for example, the visa on arrival and stuff. But taking things away from a procedure is always going to be faster to implement than going through legislation and changing laws. And there's no real reason that the marriage law would be of priority in this case. It's only been a couple of months. Do I think Foodie has done this? No. And if they're just trying to find out now, that would clearly also indicate no. But the fact is, those laws might not currently be in place. There might be no way for them to do it, and it would take a long time, certainly longer than she's got on her current visa. So if forced to guess, I would say she's got 30 days with registration at 15. I would guess that's her current situation.
No credit cards, and you have to have, like, if you look at like the warnings about coming to Syria through Syria Guides websites or from Canadian website, go to the Canadian website, look at the warnings. They tell you to bring the exact amount of cash with you because you can't get cash. So.
If only she'd looked at this before she arrived. That's another reason that Salah's going to be really annoyed. Because if he had to arrange for her to have an apartment, because he wasn't going to do that without her, he obviously had some kind of other arrangement, she would have brought some cash with her, of course she would have, but maintaining the place they're in now is costing cash that he could have put into his house. And neither of them have a clear way of getting it back. Because for Foodie to be able to access her money at home, she'd literally have to leave the country.
I don't know. Where will you go? You need to leave? I don't know. I haven't thought about it, but I'll go somewhere.
Oh, I missed what she said then. So she doesn't know what she's doing next. She can't afford to be in Canada. She can't set herself up. She doesn't have the money. I think she thought she was going to last out a little bit longer than this, but like I said, with everything else going on, I don't see them getting preferential treatment to change her visa status. I think she's going to have to go, and I don't think she wants to be there anyway. She just wants to hold on to Salah. Now, she did say she didn't want to deal with moving the cat over, and she doesn't, although she was like, you know, I love to travel. Either she said it or she's going to say it. She doesn't want to travel. But in terms of places for her to stay that would be cheaper, Malaysia would remain an option if she could just leave the cat there, just to give her a place that she could handle for the duration of the tourist visa while she does the thing that Salah asked her to do, which is give him time to set up his house. And then again, I would guess, be able to access her money and bring more through and be better prepared if she was stupid enough to go back. But to bet their future on the possibility of him coming to Canada, let's just say I think there's a reason he's so focused on getting his house set up.
Maybe Turkey? I don't know. You're aware your court marriage isn't recognized in Syria. No, I wasn't aware of that, since it is.
Feel free to check that link down below of the 2018 report. The newest information is religious weddings are, but they have to be signed off by various authorities and they'd have to register and stuff they haven't done now.
It is recognized. We showed the marriage certificate for me to even come into Syria. So yes, it is recognized.
There is no reason for her to have done that. As a visa on arrival, she just would have come in and shown her passport. That's all she has to do right now under the new regime. And her story changes immediately, which maybe shows that she realizes she doesn't know what she's talking about and shouldn't put direct statements on it.
I think I know, probably more than you.
Do you? Let's see.
Yeah, I had to show the marriage certificate. Hey, but like Salah sent all the information to this taxi service and took...
All right, so the guy that he claims he knew that picked her up, he gave all this important personal information to them, and apparently they figured it out. Was he also an immigration officer? Did he have a business that could help her do that? The only thing I think she would have had to confirm is where she was living, which I'm guessing maybe he sent an address through.
Care of it. They had to show the marriage certificate, and then they had to like call Salah and like verify that I was his wife and stuff like that.
This to me does not seem like the truth, and she is about to say, well, they were talking Arabic, I don't know, as a like get out of jail free if it turns out to be a lie and we prove otherwise.
They had to verify something. Maybe they were checking with Kuwait. I don't know.
I doubt it. They may have called him to confirm the address, maybe, but she did not need to prove her marriage coming into the country.
They do have Wi-Fi everywhere. Yeah, KFG had Wi-Fi and AC, and it's super cheap. I'm like, let's just come here every day, just to smoke shisha and have coffee. Like,
so she's saying she's like an hour and a half out of Damascus, which is where this KFG is. But she wants to do a 2 to 3 hour round trip every day to be able to sit in the AC and smoke shisha. Something there doesn't add up.
This house will be ready, inshallah, a couple weeks. You can come as a tourist, yeah.
Yeah, she did.
I don't know how it really works right now, like, with getting, like, before I came here, I was told I need to get a visa and everything like that at the airport.
That does seem to be how it was. And if she went to Syria, then if she were flying, because if she said in the airport, oh, I'm going to Syria, I think they would have assumed she was flying in, especially if her trip had several connections. But it does seem to be a recent change.
They were like, you don't have a visa for Syria though? So like, you're going to Beirut, but like, what's your flight? Like, why are you not going to Syria?
Yeah, because they're going to ask, well, where are you staying in Beirut? Because I had this issue, I can't remember where I was going, maybe it was Saudi, where someone asked me where I was going and I wasn't thinking and said the UK, and they were like, what, this isn't the, and I was like, oh no, Germany, because I was connecting there and I just wasn't thinking.
And the lady there, she's like, oh, I'm Syrian, the Montreal airport, and she's like, but you don't have a visa to go to Syria? And I was like, no. I'm like,
yeah, because she wouldn't need one. Now, I don't expect the Syrian lady to know that, because the Syrian lady would be a Syrian citizen and there's no restrictions on Syrian citizens coming in right now. But like I said, for the visa on arrival, other prerequisites have been lifted for most other nationalities.
I'm going to my husband. So and she's like, oh, so normally if you want to go to Syria, you need like a special visa, but I don't know. Things are all up in the air because of like there's just an interim government right now. Hey, Maxine. So like whenever the government was under the Assad regime, I forget what Assad mean. There were a lot of things were restricted, like YouTube, PayPal. But now that the regime has fallen, there's just an interim government still working everything out. So, I don't know. Well, yeah, of course I have a visa from the country.
Yeah, she came through a port of entry.
I think. They did something like...
I think.
Like they stamped your passport and that's it.
Yeah, they stamped it.
So,
stamping your passport isn't having a visa, but they allowed her to enter the country, and visas on arrival are available. So there's really no reason to think it was anything else, especially if she's saying, oh yeah, 15 days is my limit.
Oh, my passport, I need to... What happens if you run out of pages? Do you have to get a new passport?
This question? Holy shit, Foodie. You didn't think about that before you entered Syria? I'm wondering now how many pages she's used. So most places will say you need to have between 3 and 6 months validity before you enter the country. And if you are getting a visa, they'll tell you you need X amount of pages ready. And that was a problem I actually had, because when I was coming from Saudi to Oman, I didn't have very many pages left in my visa. I had the exact number they requested, but once I had used that to get into Oman, I was going to be out of pages. And so I ended up having to do a trip back to the UK to get a new passport. And I was actually really lucky, because the passport department at the time was dealing with the fallout of Ukraine going to war, and we were having a big influx of people. And I was literally sitting there refreshing the website, and I managed to get a 1-day appointment, because the department was overwhelmed, and if you just send it in, the estimation for the passport coming back had gone up from 12 weeks, which I couldn't do, to 20 weeks. So I had to go through like the overnight system that you could pay for. And I literally got one of the last appointments before they stopped that service because the department was under too much pressure trying to process so many other things. Because otherwise I would have had to come to Oman and then sent my passport off to go and get it replaced. And I just didn't want to deal with it being in the post. I think I actually put a vlog up of me being around and getting my passport at some point. But it's not like she's got any services available. If like she runs out of pages, she's gonna have to send it or go to an embassy. I would recommend going to an embassy. And like to not think of that, she's gonna have a lot of stamps in her passport from all the visa runs she's done. Just the complete lack of forethought for how she changes her life is insane to me.
You grew up in Kuwait, and you know, that's the thing about Kuwait, you don't ever, I'm not an anti-Rosie, no. You never get permanent residency or citizenship there, even if you marry a Kuwaiti. You're SOL, you know?
It's a really long, like, decade or so process, and you have to pass the Arabic test, and you have to pass lots of things, I believe. I'm not going to check into it now, because apparently it's not relevant anymore.
He's super boy. And now, apparently there's a law that to leave the country, you need permission from your employer. So...
Oh, I haven't
checked
that.
So I had to leave the only home he has known. He's not too sad about it, honestly.
Yeah, he seems like he's taking it really well. Just because Foodie's not sad to leave the home she's known.
There was just some issues. I won't get into it, but...
Some issues being how he got his residency card was not as secure as we thought. Okay.
Honestly, I don't really miss Kuwait. The only reason I was there is for Salah. That's it. Kuwait is off the way they treat immigrants. Now that I'm not there, if I'm being honest, I had Kuwait is better if you might, right? But if you're an expat coming to do certain work.
There is a huge amount of judgment between being a labourer, they tend to term it labourer, versus having a skilled job. And I'm not saying that labourers don't also do skilled work, but I'm just saying. So the type of foreigner you are here will change your experience a lot.
I don't know, some people are happy there, like expats, some are not. I saw a video of one expat from Nigeria. He was like, don't go there because just the living, like the way the conditions, like a lot of people are crammed into one room. And
yeah, labourers, domestic workers, like it's a lot more uncertain for them. And coming in from different countries, like I come in, I'm British, I'm white, I have a skilled job. I'm not going to sit here and lie that I am not treated differently from someone with a different appearance.
They don't make very much money, but that's like kind of like a lot of countries in the world, And I'm not saying it's all bad, but for me to pretend like there's no bad at all about Kuwait is just bullshit. Quite frankly, sorry for my language, but even Canada has good and bad. I didn't feel free it's illegal to talk bad about the country, but illegal.
Yeah.
Like you don't have any freedom of speech whatsoever there.
Because Syria is so much more open about that. And bear in mind, this didn't stop her from going off at Allah's wife. Like she'll sit there on camera and call you a dog.
But it's like that in a lot of countries too. Again, there's some countries you cannot criticize the government whatsoever. I'm going to try to stay longer.
Try to stay longer if they can change their status. If the pathway to even do that exists. Like they could just say, okay, let's get married again here religiously and just register that way. Like let's just do it from scratch and do the religious ceremony. But that doesn't mean there's no paperwork there. Like that's going to take time, and I don't think she has that time at the moment.
I'm going to get off of here for now. Bye.
All right. Oh, he's back.
I was like, who switched the electricity?
Do you have another rando coming into your house? Funny how she doesn't want to talk about this when he's here. She said too much.
Bye.
Bye. All right, so there we go. That was actually quite an interesting life from her, just because the more breadcrumbs she drops, the more trouble she gets herself into, but the more we're able to piece together an idea in as much as it's peaceable, given how up in the air things and rules are there. All right, so I'm going to leave you there, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.